Hello everyone. Welcome to our podcast today. I'm Pooh and my partner today is Miss An. Today we are going to talk about the book Ringu by Suzuki Koji. The topic for today is how Japanese society portray women in the book. There will be three main criticisms, which are women and emotion, women as a victim, and men as a dominant character. But before we dig deeper into our discussion, let's first learn a brief synopsis of the story. After 4 teenagers die in Tokyo, Asakawa, a reporter and an uncle to one of the deceased, decided to investigate the cause by himself, which led him to the resort that 4 of them used to stay. He saw a mysterious videotape and watched it. The footage inside ended with a warning that the viewer has only a week to live. Of course, he believed it, and then he asked his friend Ryuji for help. The two then went on an investigation to solve the curse in that limited time. Okay, now that we have learned a bit of the story, then let's have Miss An to start our main points.
Hello guys, so I'm here to clarify the first very standout evidence, which is portrayed through our cute antagonist Sadako. In the story of Ring, the writer decided to use Sadako, a female character, as a ghost antagonist with her harsh wrath. Sadako, who was traumatized and killed by a man, has become a wrathful ghost who tended to wreak a revenge on literally anyone. So what could be portrayed through these facts? We can see that by the view of society, women are the gender involved with emotions. It could be interpreted that women are seen to live their lives according to their sentiments, and those sentiments might possibly lead to the conflicts, as Sadako's wrath leads to the deaths of several people who might not even have a relation to her own death. In contrary, the male character in the story, as Kazuyuki Asakawa, seemed to be dealing with the conflict systematically. Our protagonist is likely to have a method to solve the problem, as he firstly presumed that the way to get rid of the curse is to find Sadako's body and do a proper cremation for her. However, he finally found out that it wasn't a real access to escape the curse. Then he tried to discover the right way out of the problem, and he did find it. Can you see the difference? The action of Asakawa were clearly leaded to a resolution, while the actions of Sadako seemed to create the conflict. The story portrayed different images between men and women, which causes a bias on the perception of women. Therefore, it could be said that society possibly views women as ones who perform things based on emotion and feelings, which might not end up nice, while men are ones who do things systematically, which could send positive effects after that. This mindset was portrayed through the story of Ring by Koji Suzuki. But do you really think that Sadako's wrath really is the core of the conflict? Well, it's actually not. We'll be talking about the reason that caused this never-ending curse in the next session.
That's right. Apart from the emotion, I think in the book, women are also considered to be the victim. For example, our infamous Sadako, our main antagonist. Let's say she is a vengeful spirit. But do you know that she was actually a raped victim from a doctor who treated her father's illness? The doctor gets aroused by her beauty and raped her in the woods beside the hospital, not knowing that Sadako is actually intersex. Intersex is a person who, for example, genetically a man, but their appearance are that of a woman, or basically she can have sex but can't bear a child. This just explained how women in appearance or woman body were perceived to be both an object for a sexual purpose and a place to conduct violence. And why violence? Let's hear some words from the doctor who raped and killed Sadako in the book. He said, "On the one hand, I desired the destruction of her body, but on the other hand, I didn't want her body to be marred or damaged." It just suggested that he was so obsessed with her female body, in spite of her genes of a man. Also said the book that she has testicles. Also, if you read the book, you will actually find that the main characters leading the story are both men. Asakawa, the protagonist, and his friend Ryuji. Ryuji was portrayed as a very wise and talented man. He had incredible intuitive and cognitive skills. He was able to understand and solve the situation sharply. But even he's like that, he enjoyed dark humor. He claimed to have raped 3 girls before, which is true or not, no one knows. Yes, this is how the story portrayed men. Men were used to be a gender to solve the problem that a woman or Sadako caused. It also suggested that Ryuji is a genius and Asakawa is a brave man who would do anything to save his wife and daughter from the curse. And again, his wife and daughter, as in woman and a girl, a victim from the curse. And this time, their roles are only to be saved by a man. Also, if you talked about the author, Suzuki Koji, he is also a man, and by this, as a male author, he made the whole world remember Sadako as a scary female ghost that came out from a TV. But the reality is different. Sadako was just a raped victim. She was actually a normal person with some psychic powers that didn't make her a bad person at all. It is actually the man or that doctor who traumatized her and killed her. So what we see in The Ring, whether in the book or film, is just a revenge of anger from Sadako before she actually died.
Well, that's a pretty harsh background behind the creation of the curse, I guess. So, after we've come over all the interpretations, it comes out that, through the story of Ring, Women are portrayed in the role of an emotional character and a victim under the dominance of men. While the male character as Asakawa played an important role as a protagonist who tried to solve the story's conflict, Sadako ended up being a vengeful antagonist who wreaked the curse based on her wrath. The differences between the characteristics of men and women are presented through the story. And apart from that point, women still seem to take a submissive role under men's dominance as the point Pooh has presented. Sadako's role was a victim of a rape case committed by a man, and there were also some small ideas of raping showed through another character. To be clear, women are viewed by the society as a symbol of emotions and submissive victims throughout the Ring's story. Lastly, we are not gonna say that this idea is right or wrong, but however, it is important to keep in mind that characteristics of each gender are ways more complex than what the media has shown to us. Women are not always emotional and men are not always dominant. Therefore, we should not presume things only by what we have heard of. For now, I think it's time for us to say goodbye. Don't forget to turn off your television and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.